Am I audible? Okay. Now let me start by sharing my screen. So this is the topic for the day. Making a project work conspicuous, creative, and competitive. Can you see this screen? Visible. Okay. So all the students who are in the seventh semester are going to do a project work for a duration of 2 semesters. That is 1 year. This project work is a part of the curriculum. It carries marks. There will be presentation at frequencies for the outcome of this project, and at the end it has to be submitted to the college in a bound volume and uploaded. So it's not a simple thing, it's more than theory purpose because it is going to be a documentation of the effort that you have done. That is why I've given this title like this: making a project work. Anyway, you have to do a project work. But how can it be conspicuous? Means visible to all, noted by all. If your project work is very creative and competitive, even the media will publicize your project work. I had instances of many times the students' project work being published at breadth by the print media and visual media. So you also have a chance to be visible there in the media after your work is completed. Then the next thing is how to make your project work creative. Means creativity is something, it's not an innate quality, it is a developed quality. Basically, we are all intelligent, but how to make use of that intelligence for something, some new achievement, new invention, new ideas, that is creativity. So you have to think laterally, you have to think differently, you have to think effectively. All this will come under creativity. And the third part is how to make it competitive. Competitive means if it is not better than something else available, its value is very less. There is no point in reinventing the wheel. Once the wheel is ready, if only there is some improvisation, you have to do on it. Otherwise, say your senior students have done some work, you are repeating the same work. Or some other college, somebody has done a work, you are repeating the same work. It is meaningless. So if you have some improvisation to suggest, you are becoming competitive. Otherwise, you will be just doing garbage in, garbage out, which in environmental engineering we say as GIGO. So don't do that. You have to have something new with you. So for you, what is the meaning of project work? If you go to some software company, from the day one of your career, you will be assigned with projects. Your duty will be with projects. Everything is a project. Any activity which is one time, which is unique, which has result, which involves effort, which needs resources, that is a project. So, in that way, any work assigned to you other than routine works are project works. When you join a software company, you will be assigned with a project. When you join a construction site, you will be assigned with a project. But this project work you are doing in the college in the final year, it is a miniature of those project works. This is just to teach you, just to give you an idea about how a project should be taken up, how you can have innovation in a project, how your skills can be invented, what are the opportunity for you to apply your knowledge. You have a lot of knowledge. You know that now it's the age of information. Information age, you have a lot of data. The entire data may not be useful to you. Some of the data will convert as information to you. For example, every day you are seeing a lot of social media videos, audios, and write-ups. Some of them will remain in your memory, and that is information. If that information becomes a useful thing, it becomes knowledge. And if the knowledge you are applying for some purpose, then it becomes wisdom. So any data is useless until and unless it becomes wisdom. Wisdom is what we want. So gaining the wisdom, we need to do such projects, and these projects should involve the mechanisms or the articulates by which your data becomes information, becomes knowledge, become wisdom, and you can finally create something out of it. That is the last part in Bloom's taxonomy, which I will be discussing. So your project work is divided into 7th and 8th semester. I'll be mostly focusing here on civil engineering projects because this is exclusively for civil engineers, not for other branches. So in 7th semester, you will have 1/3 of the work to be completed, and in your 8th semester, you will have to complete 2/3 of the works. And your project topic you have to finalize either with civil engineering topic or an interdisciplinary topic which is connected with civil engineering. And no student should jump into a topic because you are just novices. You are newcomers in this arena. So consult your teachers and then only jump into. Your teachers are all postgraduates. They have done their project work in the BTech level. They have done their much longer project work in the PG level. So they know what's a project work and what is going to be the outcome. So you should have a discussion with them before initiating any project. And that too, you have to specifically resort to certain areas. For example, it should be either a thrust area. What do you mean by thrust area? It should not be something which is, which has already become a rubbish over time, or which is used and used and used, and it has become a fun for the people to see that you are doing again it. No, you should have some thrust area. For example, sometimes the thrust area was computerized. Nowadays, the thrust area is based on artificial intelligence, or the thrust area in civil engineering is nowadays nanomaterials. So these all will add value to your project. So instead of just having a routine civil engineering topic, you should have something attached to it with a thrust area. One is that. Otherwise, you can even go for interdisciplinary topics. Even many of the postgraduate courses in civil engineering are interdisciplinary, like computer applications in civil engineering or computer integrated civil engineering. Like that, so many nowadays it may come again as robotics in civil engineering, or the use of big data in civil engineering. Like that, things may change. So they are all interdisciplinary areas where you need the help of your guide as well as somebody from outside your department. And next type of problems you can take is what is called societal problems, whether something is useful for the society. I still remember when the government of India allotted some funds for doing project work on check dams in Palakkad district. The mission director, late Mr. Bhattadiripat, he asked me whether you can get the help of your students to do some check dams in Palakkad district. And I could give it as project work to 4 batches, each batch coming out with one topic, and one at Lekadi, one at Parali, one at Kalpati, like that. Different locations they surveyed in detail. They studied the stream flow, they studied the topography, they prepared the map, they calculated the volumes, and at each of these places we have constructed check dam. Some 1 year back, one batch, that batch is around more than 25 years old. They completed their BTech. They came, they went to the check dam, that Lekadi check dam, which they have designed. They have been conducting the study, the reservoir study, the topographical study. They went there, they stood there above the check dam, and they took the photograph. And I have published it in my social media with the title, "The students who did the project work on Lekadi check dam are here on top of the check dam." That's a great achievement for them, because even now the check dam is staying there, and these students are all in different parts of the world. most of them are in UAE, they are coming and saying that this check dam is the study of our outcome. Another example I can say, for example, I am now talking to you from Ahilya campus. This is the largest campus in Kerala, spread across hundreds of acres. When we first started the work of this campus in the late 20th century, we had to survey this land to lay the rods to make the compound walls. So what I did is I assigned the work to two of my project students. So they conducted the survey. One batch conducted the survey. Another batch conducted the topographical feature study. And these reports we use for designing this layout of the campus. See, they have been part of a big history. Now this is a history because this is the largest campus in Kerala. So this is how project works can be of societal use. And in the second one, for example, when they were doing it for a private campus like Ahilya campus, I even paid them for the services because they had to take lunch, they had to have transport, and even that way, societal activities we can do. Then the third one is developing indigenous technology. For example, you may need some technology which is now missing, but which you can develop by our own effort. You can develop this. Also, I had an experience when we were having some studies on Plachimada area, and there's a book also which I have written on those studies. When we were conducting the studies at Plachimada area, we even developed, with the help of my wife, we developed a system for purifying the Plachimada water. So the study was conducted on the trout problems at Plachimada. It is all described in the book Saga of Plachimada. But the outcome of the study was that we developed a water purifying system for the Plachimada dwellers, because you know that at Plachimada the water is very saline because of the salt water intrusion into that area, because the groundwater has been drained off by the underground pipes, deep wells. So these are some of the practical examples which I'm saying how you can integrate with indigenous technology, how you can integrate with societal development, how you can integrate with trust areas and the like. Why I'm telling these examples are when you also go for doing a project work, these can be in your mind. Now you have got two phases for your project work. And students, please note, anytime you want to ask a question, you can stop me. But otherwise, I'll be giving you some 10 minutes time at the end where you can note down your questions and you can ask me. And if there are still more questions, you can raise it later also through your teachers. You can reach it to me. That is also possible. Now, in the 7th semester, you are going to do 1/3 of the project work. I'll be now focusing on that part because 8th semester it is making mostly the report, conducting the studies, submitting the report, all these things. So conducting the study starts in the initial 8th semester. Actually, in the 7th semester, the planning part is more. So I'll be discussing more on that. That is why I have given you this phase 1 target is taken from your project syllabus. If you go to the KTU syllabus, these points you will see there specifically written how you have to proceed with the phase 1. The phase 1, the first part is literature study. This literature study, first what you have to do is, instead of reading the journals, first you go through some of the good project reports available in your college. You ask your teachers, they will know, they will have rating for the project reports. Some project reports may be very good rated, some may be mediocre, some may be low quality. So your teachers will be able to tell you which project report is good and which project report is not that good. So you go through, excuse me, you can go through some of the good reports which they are suggesting. This may be available either in your department library or the college library. That is the first part. Read at least 2 or 3 good project reports. Why? Because that gives you an insight what is the level to which you have to work. But remember, don't limit to that. Any project report will have some compromises done on it, because at the fag end of the project work, the students will get very less time. So what I suggest to you is, you start the work early so that even those deficiencies in those project reports you can avoid. If you finish much of your work in the seventh semester itself, the project work, the work quantum of work you are supposed to do in the eighth semester, you will be able to do some part of it in the seventh semester. There is nothing wrong if at the end of the seventh semester you can start the work which you are supposed to do in the eighth semester, because eighth semester everything will be now will be pressurizing you, and but the student's mentality is normally to keep everything in abeyance. We call it procrastination, where you feel whatever can be done today, why couldn't I do tomorrow? This is a personal trait in most of us. So avoid that personal trait, and whatever work you have to do in the beginning of the eighth semester, if you can do in the seventh semester itself, that will definitely fetch you a competitive advantage over the other students in your class. Then, before you start the project work, you should have a clear objective. What are all things you are going to do? These objectives again you will have to give in the report. But be clear about things. There is no point in saying that I am going to do hi-fi things. No point. But it can be even simple thing. For example, some of the greatest inventions in the world have been very simple. It's not complicated. It's not sophisticated. So don't say in the beginning that we are going to do a lot of sophistications. No. Small things add up to a good project. And then the next stage you have to do is you should have an idea about what you are going to adopt for the methodology, and if there is design, if there is some experimentation, all this, even the hypothesis. Hypothesis means the first principles of doing any research work. In a way, the project is a miniature research. Research means something which others might have gone through. It is research, means you are going through a path which others would have tramped, but you are going to find new path. Maybe they would have walked over it, but you are going to dig it out. This is what is a research, and that is required. If you form a clear idea what is to be done, then this also the teachers will help you. Then you should have a definite work plan and task allocation, and here you can even use the project scheduling techniques. Many guides will tell you make a schedule of what is going to be the work. I don't know how many of you prepare schedule for your studies. Very studious students make schedule for their studies. In a week, 7 days are there. Every day, 24 hours are there. So what is the schedule of my studies? Like that, those who have studied CPM and PERT, they are project scheduling techniques which are common. Even advanced techniques are there like GERT or what. But if you simply make a schedule by a simple technique called bar chart, or a time slot diagram, you can have, or even simply if you write in a calendar form what are the work you are going to do, that will remind you always. Like you put the alarm on the mobile, it will remind you today what I have to do, tomorrow what I have to do. Otherwise, this will be a forgotten task. And obviously, documentation you have to start from the beginning itself. Don't wait till everything is over. If you have some experiments, if you have some drawings, make it at the beginning so that at the end, all of this appended together will become your project work. Many students do or try to do it at the end. Then another thing is, many of the projects will be funded by different agencies. University funding scheme is there. Kerala Science, Technology and Environment Council funding is there. And the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India fund is there. AICT fund is there. UGC fund is there. All these fundings you can apply. But I have seen that the students are very, very careless about availing this funding. It is not the amount that matters. Maybe the amount is only 5,000 or 10,000 or something like that. Only very good projects will get 1 lakh or 2 lakhs rupees like that. It is not the amount of the funding. The point is that when you go for a good job interview or higher studies or PhD work, if you just got that you got a funded research for your BTech projects, its value will be in lakhs, not the amount you got. But again, there is a very bad impact on this by the initiative taken by the students. I tell you one case. 3 years back, I was guiding a project work. My students applied for it. I helped them. They got it approved. It was a very good project work also, and even that project got some awards from elsewhere, cash awards from elsewhere. But at the end, I told that students that you see, you have to submit to the government your project report in a specific format. I gave that format also. they couldn't submit that format to the government to avail the fund. Fund they will give at the end only. So they lost that fund. So now since they lost that fund, they cannot write anywhere that this was a funded project. Funding approval is there, but it was not funded because they didn't submit the final document to the government. That is must. By that time, they all got jobs. They were happy that the government allotted only 5,000 rupees. They got around 20,000 rupees elsewhere. So they were happy with it. That should not happen. It's not the money that matters. I still feel they lost a lot of opportunity because five good students, they did a good work, they applied for it, approval they got awards elsewhere, but they couldn't get the government funding at the end because they didn't submit the final report. And the final report they have to submit. It's not the guide's duty to submit it. This is one thing the students have to do. All your teachers must be knowing about the various funding schemes, or your HOD definitely knows all the funding schemes. You can discuss with teachers and HOD and adopt which funding scheme is good for you. And even you can go to the funding schemes not at so far availed. There are so many agencies national level. If you want, I can even give you a list of agencies which do student funding. But you have to give a preliminary report to them. You have to work according to that. And laziness of many student groups do not permit them to go as per the track. That is a difficulty. Then the next one is, in your study, you may have so many analysis, modeling, simulation, experiment, design, feasibility study, etc. What the students do is, after half of the work has been over, they just go and inquire what is the software required for this, where I can get this now. This is wrong. If you need the software for any simulation, any modeling, most probably your teachers may have it. And remember, for your project work, you don't need licensed software. You don't need, because students are permitted to use for individual purpose even unlicensed software. Only thing is you can just acknowledge what is the software you have used. That is enough. Whereas if a teacher uses a software for some public activity without license, it may be punishable. But most of the software companies, for single use by the student for project work, they won't follow you up. They won't see whether you have used a licensed software or non-licensed software. But if your college is having a licensed software, you can better use it. Otherwise, even if you use a cracked software for your personal use, there is no harm in it. Okay. Then at the end of the seventh semester, you will have to give a report, which is called the phase one report. You will have to present it in front of your teachers, and that is one area, the closure of phase one of the project. Now I'll be discussing about how you have to take up with the work, what are the basic principles of the work, what are some possible topics which you can choose for the work. All these things I'll discuss right now. Meantime, if you have got any question, 2 minutes, 3 minutes I'm giving for that. Okay, any question you want to ask? 2-3 minutes break, because pedagogic technology says that you should not retain the students for more than 20 minutes. Now 25 minutes over, I am giving you a break of 2 minutes. You just ask the questions. No question? I think you are reserving the question for the end. Okay. Then what are the characteristics of a good project task? Project is a task. I told the project is a one-time activity. My teacher, Dr. Garbanda, who taught project management to me, told that the best ever project work you can quote is that of a childbirth. It's a task, it is unique, and it is cumbersome. So now you know what is the extent of a project work. So your project also will be a new offspring once you submit it as a report. So it should be authentic. Means whatever thing you give in the project work will be or should be authentic. Nobody should question its authenticity. The moment whatever you are giving is wrong, you yourself are becoming valueless. Keep in mind. Don't write meaningless things or imaginations in the project work. Data you give should be after study. And whatever you give should be a real world one. Real world one means this is going to people. Whatever project work, you may feel that this project work will not be seen by anybody. It's not so. Earlier, I was telling you about the project work done by one of our batch of students for the Lake Reach check dam. Almost 15 years later, an engineer from the irrigation department came and asked me, "Sir, can I get the report of that project?" They wanted to do it elsewhere. See, that is the authenticity of that project work. And I gave it to him and I told him, please take a copy and return it. I'm so unhappy to say that it never returned. So I couldn't give it to anybody else. And that was a time when computers were not used for storing the project work. So I don't have a computer copy of that report also. This may happen. But anyway, it's a real world challenge so that people can duplicate it for some other things. Then you have to have a higher order thinking. Think differently, think effectively. Anything can provoke your thoughts. And I'll tell you what is the level of thinking you require because I'll be showing you the Bloom's taxonomy levels. And then, as much as possible, you inculcate the 21st century skills into your project. Don't use the old ones. Don't repeat the old mistakes. Maybe your teachers would have done some projects. Their teachers would have done some projects. Maybe the engineering stream may not have changed much. For example, the civil engineering you study right now, even the most advanced mathematics which you study, differentiation, integration, it has got the age of Isaac Newton. It was 16th century invention, differentiation. Integration, 17th century invention. You feel it is still difficult. So, but 21st century skills are slightly different. 21st century skills, I'll show you what are required. But you just see, this will be known to all your teachers because Bloom's taxonomy is that which they use for setting the questions. I told earlier about the data, the information, the knowledge, and it converting to wisdom. All these things I have told you. So once it becomes knowledge, that is what you get from the class, basic knowledge. The teachers give you knowledge, and that knowledge should get into your memory. Then it becomes comprehension, and that comprehension you should be able to apply at different levels. Then it becomes application. With that application or with that knowledge, if you are able to think over it, use your brain, then becomes analysis. And analysis part, if your intrinsic capacity is also attached to that, then it becomes what is called the synthesis. And the last part of it is we call as the evaluation or the creativity level. That means with all this process, you are coming to a level with that knowledge, that analysis, that synthesis. You can say, for example, you have studied a lot of space science. But when you go for making a spacecraft, all this knowledge has to come into you. Otherwise, the spacecraft will fail. You have studied a lot about structural analysis, structural design, geology, soil mechanics. But when you want to design a bridge, all this should come into your mind. Perhaps bridge design is one of the challenges too, because a proper bridge design is not available in any of the textbooks. Because bridge design is quite site specific. You cannot give a standard design for a bridge. So it is a creativity level. It is a sixth level. That is why I say all this have to be in your mind and it should be added up to the 21st century skills. What are the 21st century skills? Innovation skills, then life skills, then information and media skills. These are all important for you. And in this also comes what is called the software skill. The software skill is only for 21st century. In the 20th century, our students had only very basic introduction about the software. For example, when I was studying the computer languages we studied, imagining a computer. We have never seen the computer then. We just imagine that this is the computer, this is how the card has to be punched, the card has to be inserted in the reading machine like that. Okay, so those dates are gone. Now, one area where you will be struck will be how to choose a topic with all these backgrounds. I've told you so many things. So I'll be giving you a total list of possible topics. Remember, this is not the topic you have to adopt. I'm giving from different areas sample topics because I know This is the point where the students and the guide will be stuck. They are in a confusion. What topic can have all these things together? So I have selected topics from various sources. So many topics I'm just saying, and it will be difficult for you to uh, now write down all these topics. Don't worry. I'm recording my talk here. I'll send it to you so you can read it on the screen. Okay. I'm recording the full screen. So you will get it. Go through it one by one. This is only a sample. Don't try to imitate the same, but you can get the idea from this, because I know that in the 7th semester, almost 1 month, the students will be wandering here and there asking for topics. But remember, before going to these topics, there are some things to be done. First thing I told you, you have to have the first part of it, that is reading the previous project reports. Minimum 1 or 2 project reports of good quality you should read. After that, you can think of any of these topics or a related topic and then go for searching the journals. Journals can be, earlier we used to have print journals only approved, but now even soft journals are all right. You can use either print journals or soft journals. I think your college also will be having the digital library, because now it is compulsory as per ICT norms. You will have so many online journals in your college, print journals also, and these online journals you can just copy the soft copy and get into your mobile or laptop. And before going for downloading the journals, you can have a vague idea about which area I am going to do the project. In the list of topics I am going to give, I'll be discussing about structural engineering topics, geotechnical engineering topics, water resources engineering, hydraulics engineering, remote sensing, building technology, all these topics, whatever there are specializations in engineering, environmental engineering, so many topics will be there. All these specializations, I'll be giving some sample topics. And remember, this I have collected at random. Some topics would have missed out. Why I am specifically giving this is, major question the students ask even at present is not about how to do the project or not about how to report the project. They'll be asking about what is the topic they want to fix up. So this will be a list for the teachers also as a guidance. So I'll be just going through one by one, and at the end I'll tell you how you can simulate one among this topic with some other topic which you can do. This is prepared for you, for the students from your college only, because I've taken your district as the reference. Okay, let us see. First topic is integrated studies of hydrogeological investigations and remote sensing techniques in groundwater assessment. I cannot explain the topic because your teachers know. You will have some teacher there who is specialized in environmental or water resource or hydrology, who will be able to tell you what is its meaning. Another topic is design and treatability studies of low-cost biofilter and grey water treatment, environmental topic. Flood risk assessment and mapping in Malappuram district. These are all, I've listed only practical topics, topics which you can work on. The next one is groundwater recharge in drought-prone areas of Malappuram district. Waste plastic pyrolyzed oil. Your teachers will explain to this. What is a pyrolyzed oil? How you can get waste plastics. Then studies on the strength and elastic behavior of concrete infilled steel tubular sections. I don't know whether you have yet studied what is infill tube or core types tube. Anyway, that your teachers will explain. Okay, this is one possible topic. Then strength of RC beam using geopolymer concrete and adopting bubble technology. Geopolymer is a peculiar thing where in the concrete you add fly ash and similar polymer materials. Anyway, not going to explain it, because if I go on explaining it, so many topics are there. I have to first list all these things. This is just to give an exposure. What are the areas in which you can go for topics? Utilization of waste plastic in manufacturing of bricks along with quarry dust and M-sand. M-sand means manufactured sand. These are all things available here. I have chosen the topic such that you get these things in your area and you can modify it accordingly. And there is no restriction. I'm giving a topic just for you to know that these are the possibilities. When you go and discuss with your teachers, you can just have an idea about how this topic can be modified. And you apply your creativity and your common sense and your knowledge base and your thought-provoking skills and your teachers' resource also. You can do it. Experimental investigation of on cold formed light gauge rectangular hollow section with welded knee joints. It requires a bit of money, so if it's a funded project, you can go for that. Study of surface water and groundwater and its treatment using biocoagulants. The first part of it, I have already done a study in Palakkad district with the help of a project staff. It was a funded project from government. But second part, biocoagulants, another project somebody has done earlier. I have guided one batch which worked on biocoagulants. And your HOD has also guided one batch with biocoagulants. Okay. Now, digestion of plastic using tenebrio molitor, which is, we call it as the mealworms. That is use of worms, vermicompost for plastic. Adsorption of fluoride using nanoplast particles and iron and aluminum oxide. This adsorption of fluoride, we have done some other studies like Nalgonda technique and all, but that is different. Now nanoparticles are available. Anyway, I'm not going to the theory details. Iron and aluminum has already proven to be effective in fluoride dissipation. So teachers specialized in that area, please think of it. The next is hardened properties of concrete using STP treated water and untreated wash water. This is a part of environmental engineering. You know that STP, I don't know whether your college is having an STP where outlet water is there. Otherwise, you can go for untreated wash water, which comes from the bathrooms. Now, black cotton soil treatment using bioenzyme, bagasse ash. Bagasse means the waste of sugar cane. Bagasse, I don't know whether it is available in Malappuram, but I think it must be available somewhere. That's why I put that topic also. Then iron nanoparticles for the removal of arsenic from groundwater. It's a new topic. Nobody has done it so far because these iron nanoparticles are just becoming wider, popular only. But it is available. Then innovative green SEC, it is self-compacting concrete. SEC stands for self-compacting concrete with partial replacement of aggregates by slag. Actually, this topic I have given to a student whom I guided for MTech in another college, in a college at Ernakulam. I guided a student for MTech and he did this study, but even now it is work because he didn't complete this study, but whatever he did, it was published as a Scopus Index paper also. Reuse of nano-degradable waste PET bottles for ground improvement. This you can easily do because so much PET bottle is available in your district. No deficiency for PET bottles there. Then use of coconut shell as capping for sand in rapid sand filters. Rapid sand filters, your teachers will tell you how it is working and how it is to be capped. You discuss. Then sustainable use of grey water for the lower floor toilet flushing. Lower floor toilet, you can use the flush, the grey water. Grey water means it's not the septic water, it's the wash water which is coming from the upper stories. This idea is workable because no separate tank is required. Only some temporary collection is required because gravity of the water in multi-storied buildings this is possible. And in your districts also you have got many multi-storied buildings. Then next one is performance assessment of pedestrian infrastructure in Perinthalmanna. Perinthalmanna town is always a congested town. What as BTech civil engineering students you can propose? What suggestion you can propose for the safe transit of pedestrians there? That is a good topic, societal value. And once the study is over, you can call the MLA, MP, and all such people and have a big press release for your findings. What should be done seriously, not just gimmicks. Then graphene fabricated nanomaterials for water treatment. I'm not explain because it involves a lot of theory. Stabilization of soils using geosynthetics. So many studies are available on this. But again, soil, more than hundreds of varieties of students, soils are available in India. So even if the study is available, I have read this study done in Andhra Pradesh. But there is nothing wrong if you do that study in Malappuram or if you do that study in Calicut. It's possible. Okay. Strength of RC beam using geopolymer concrete and adopting bubble technology. Geopolymer I have told you. So how the RC beam you can use the geopolymer, conduct a study. And if you choose a specific topic, now ChatGPT is available. You can get information on anything from the ChatGPT. What is a geopolymer? How it is used? It gives you information up to September 2021. Up to that, whatever development was done in these areas, you get from that. Use that information. All these topics you can just feed and see what is the literature available on that. But remember, ChatGPT literature is not 100% reliable because some students like you would have put in so many things there without verifying its veracity. So don't accept it as such, but it will give you a vague idea. What is it? Then E3 shelter. It's a sustainability concept, eco-friendly, economical, and energy-efficient home. You can do some studies. I simply tell you one project group. They are from some college in BTech project group from Trivandrum. They contacted me some time back, some 5, 6 years back, that they want to study about the eco-friendly performance of buildings. So I assigned them to the Nirmati Gandhina Tirundaram, which I was in charge then. So they have done extensive studies and they found out the effect of temperature on various types of buildings in Tirundaram district. You can do it on Malappuram district also. You can come up with, I think that project study will be available with them. Exactly, I don't know where those students are now, but they came out with a very good project report. Very useful because it gave a lot of idea about how to reduce the temperature, the internal temperature in rooms. How can you reduce by using different technology? That is possible. Then stabilization of black water soil using terrasyme. Terrasyme is available in the market. It's an enzyme, chemical enzyme. Then treatment of sugar industry wastewater by baffle wall refractor jets. Reactor jets. This I doubt whether it is possible. It is possible at Palakkad because sugar industry is very closely available here in Palakkad and Coimbatore. Okay. Conversion of spent coffee grounds into renewable energy. This is possible because in Nilambur area you have got coffee grounds which are unused. How they can be used for a renewable energy purpose. That is for planting renewable energy plants and for even wind and solar installations. Drag reduction due to streamlining and boundary layer control. This can even get funding from the Defense Board. There is what is called a Defense Research Board. There is what is called Marine Technology Board. They spend lakhs and crores of rupees for such studies. This is how to streamline buildings as well as marine structures, as well as marine vehicles like boats, ships, submarines. How you can improve the streamlining and reduce the drag. Drag force is something which takes away a lot of fuel as also reduces speed. So this can be even done for the PG level also. Recently, I had a discussion with the Marine Board Chairman, Dr. Atmanand, who is also my BTech batchmate. He was saying that they have no limit for the funding for such studies. You can take up such studies. Only thing is, their funding will be longer time. So if any student wants to go for higher studies, MTech, they can even go for such studies. Then cement stabilized masonry interlocking blocks. There's so many studies are available. Then dairy treatment of dairy wastewater aided with electricity generation using dual chambered microbial fuel cell. Microbial fuel cell is a new concept. Hydrogen fuel cell is an already existing concept. Microbial fuel cell I am not going to explain right now. If your teachers can explain, let them give it. Otherwise, if anybody is taking a similar project, we can discuss it later. Then replacement of river sand by waste foundry sand. I have conducted one study like this, and it was partly funded also by an industry. Some industries will be ready to fund your projects for reutilization of the foundry sand. Foundry sand comes from foundry industry. Then sustainable toilet. Sustainable toilet, even the state government may give it because the Harita Kerala mission and the health department of government of Kerala and the Shujita mission, these people were once Shujita mission has asked for some sustainable toilet design. Some 5, 6 designs I have given. I think it may be there on my pen drive. Even modifying that, it can attract government funding because government wants sustainable toilets which use less water, which use less energy for cleaning, less maintenance costs. This is what is called sustainable toilet. Then civil engineering projects, noise absorbing composite materials, continuation of what we have discussed, noise absorbing composite materials using agro waste products, recharging phreatic zone through pervious concrete pavement. This is required in dam area. Then sustainable energy generation by biofuel cell. This biofuel also, we are having a lot of biofuel in our state as well as nearby states. For example, there's a plant very popular in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, which is called Jetrofa. So biofuel cell is basically a plant which is or fuel which is used for uh, driving the vehicles. There are certain countries like Mexico where dual engines are also there. But how it can be used for energy generation from septic tank, the same concept. Instead of uh, instead of going for plants, how the gases coming from the septic tank can be used for generating energy. Such studies you can have. Okay. Then waste processing techniques. So many. I'm not discussing. You'll study in environmental engineering. So many waste processing technology. Come up with a new technology, not that which is currently being used. Any technology you devise, it may take years and years to get established. But remember, the technology which we use today has been developed by somebody like this. Then strength and durability characteristics of concrete using nano silica, nano vanadium mixture. This is a new technique. Nano silica, nano vanadium mixture you can buy from the market and you can try it. It is a bit costly. Nano silica is not that costly. Nano vanadium is a bit costly, but those who can afford some funding, this also has got defense applications because vanadium has got certain peculiar properties, and silica also it is highly temperature resistant. So their combination will become a very durable concrete for some defense applications. Okay, then treatment like bomb blast resistant, like shell resistant structures may be required. Then treatment of landfill leachate using nanoparticles. We have a lot of techniques for landfill leachate. You will study that in your environmental engineering. What is landfill? What is its leachate? How it is coming out? But new technique for dealing with it. This leachate problem is there everywhere. Then next topic is sewage turbines. How you can operate turbines from treated sewage water. Turbines are running by head of water. So how treated sewage water will be normally having some head. If that head is available, how it can be used for turbine? Only thing is you have to be a bit careful about corrosion. So the turbine will have to be a bit corrosion resistant. Then electricity generation from sugar mill wastewater. The liquefaction potential by locally available sand and silt. Then treatment of leachate using low cost materials. I may not have much time to explain these things one by one. I'll just read out. Whichever topic you have some interest, we can discuss later. Influence of concrete strength in tension zone using partial beam. Mineral admixtures and lime as stabilizer in the manufacture of soil cement block. This has been done by many, but even then there are scope for that because based on the admixtures, the study can differ. Even last year, one batch has done study on this. Soil stabilized mud blocks reinforced with treated coconut fibers. In NSS College of Engineering, one batch has done this study. Proposed design of integrated waste. What I'm saying is these are just examples where you can modify it. Proposed design of integrated waste processing plant. Self-compacting of concrete using GGBS. GGBS is available plainly in steel mills. It is ground granulated blast furnace slag. It is used in cement now. So we can use self-combating concrete with GGBS. And then geogrids reinforced cementitious matrix for strengthening masonry infills. Production of eco bricks from industrial waste using alkali activated technology. Removal of emerging environmental contaminant using silicon dioxide and titanium dioxide nanocomposite. Paper mill effluent treatment by upflow anaerobic bioreactor. Combined physico-chemical treatment for the color reduction of textile wastewater. This is very much required in Kannur area where so many textile plants are there. We have given already some techniques for them to reduce the color, but they still need new technology. Removal of methylene blue from aqueous solution, making green porous concrete for rainwater harvesting and urban pavements. Each this topic I can explain for 1 hour, but I am just leaving the topic. Aquifer mapping, monitoring and analysis. This I have done for Palakkad area already. Self depuration competence of natural streams. strength and durability characteristics of ternary blending concrete, solid waste management for your own institution. I don't know whether you have done it for MEA Engineering College. Treatment of textile effluent using titanium oxide nanoparticles. Soil erosion susceptibility assessment using morphometric parameters and sediment yield. Evaluating the efficiency of activated teak leaves and banana trunk. This is important for you because your district, Nilambur area, is full of teak leaves and banana trunk. Removal of toxic metals from synthetic wastewater. Dynamic behavior of overhead water tank using shake table test. The synthesis of nano titanium dioxide and its use for removal of lead ions. Increasing the yield of the ring wells using user-friendly method. Yield of ring wells. Ring wells are used in Malappuram districts also. Hybridization of existing water supply system. Stabilization of organic waste using in-vessel composter, comparing the standards of coarse aggregate in North Kerala. This will be a good study which the contractors and engineers can use. If you make a chart of the properties of coarse aggregate in your district or the Malabar area. Study on influence of sewage water on physicochemical properties. Application of nanometal oxides in treatment of soaps and detergents. Delineation of watershed and estimation of discharge of a river using GIS. You have nearby rivers also. Application of particle image velocimetry to investigate pile soil interaction behavior. It's a bit tedious work that you need a very high instrumentation. But at PG level you can do it. GIS enabled computation of seawater intrusion. Very easy for you and your district needs it. In Panani area, the water intrusion is very much you can have. But whether your 1 year study span is enough, but at least that much you can do. Autoclaved aerated concrete blocks. This gives a lot of scope because ACC blocks are now the construction material. 75% of the construction in Kerala is now depending on ACC blocks, autoclaved aerated concrete blocks. So how to improvise its strength? It is a need of the hour. No studies available right now in Kerala. So these are some of the areas where you can, I think this I'm just skipping because so much of topics and so much of time. Now I have to give you some, anyway, this also will be given in your studies. I just invite questions from you. I've just shown you the areas where you can work. Now I am coming to the question and answer session. You can ask anything. You can even put on the chat box. I gave you an idea about how to proceed with the work and then documentation of the work. Maybe in your essay, if necessary, I can come again and tell you in the 8th semester what continuation you have to do for this. Now I have discussed about the 7th semester. I've been told to talk something on seminar also, but it's almost time. Anyway, if you any questions there, let me listen to that first. On topics which I have presented, whether you have got any questions. You can just either you can put on the chat box or you can come on microphone and tell it. Chat box, nothing is there. Okay. Yes, no questions? Yes, please. സെൽഫ് ഫിനാൻസിങ് കോളേജിന് വേണ്ടി അങ്ങനെ പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഫണ്ട് സ്കീംസ് ഒന്നുമില്ല. അതായത് കോളേജസ് സെൽഫ് ഫിനാൻസിങ് കോളേജിൽ നിന്ന് ഫണ്ട് തരാൻ സാധ്യതയില്ല. അത് ഈവൻ ഗവൺമെന്റ് കോളേജസും പ്രോജക്റ്റിന് വേണ്ടി കോളേജിൽ നിന്ന് ഫണ്ട്സ് ഒന്നും കൊടുക്കില്ല. പിന്നെ സെൽഫ് ഫിനാൻസിങ് കോളേജസ് ഞാനീ പറഞ്ഞ എല്ലാ സ്കീംസും അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യാം. കേരള സ്റ്റേറ്റ് കൗൺസിൽ ഫോർ സയൻസ് ടെക്നോളജി ആൻഡ് എൻവയറമെന്റ് ഫണ്ട്, യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റിയുടെ ഫണ്ട്, ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റ് ഓഫ് സയൻസ് ആൻഡ് ടെക്നോളജിയുടെ ഫണ്ട്, എല്ലാ റിസർച്ച് ബോർഡിന്റെ ഫണ്ട്, CSIR ഫണ്ട്, ഇതൊക്കെ സെൽഫ് ഫിനാൻസിങ് കോളേജിലെ സ്റ്റുഡൻസിനും അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യാം. ഫണ്ട് അനുവദിക്കുന്നതിൽ ചില ടിപ്പിക്കൽ ഫണ്ട്സിന് മാത്രമേ, ചില ഡിഫൻസ് റിലേറ്റഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ചില ഫണ്ട്സിന് മാത്രമേ അവർ ഗവൺമെന്റ് എയ്ഡഡ് ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷനെ എടുക്കുള്ളൂ. ബാക്കി എല്ലാ ഫണ്ടും ഏത് കോളേജിനും തരും, പ്രൊവൈഡഡ് നിങ്ങൾ ആദ്യം ഒരു പ്രപ്പോസൽ ഉണ്ടാക്കി കൊടുക്കണം. ആ പ്രപ്പോസൽ കൊള്ളാമെന്ന് അവർക്ക് തോന്നിയ, ഉദാഹരണത്തിന് നമ്മൾ കഴിഞ്ഞ തവണ അയച്ച സാറ്റലൈറ്റ്സിൽ ചില കോമ്പണൻസ് ഉണ്ടാക്കിയത് ഒരു സെൽഫ് ഫിനാൻസിങ് കോളേജിലെ കുട്ടികളാണ്. അവർക്ക് അതിനുള്ള ഫണ്ടിങ് ഗവൺമെന്റ് കൊടുത്തു. അപ്പോൾ അവരുടെ പ്രപ്പോസൽ നന്നായിരുന്നുകൊണ്ട് അവർക്ക് ഫണ്ടിങ് കൊടുത്തു. അത് സിവിൽ സ്റ്റുഡൻസ് അല്ല ചെയ്ത്. സിവിൽ സ്റ്റുഡൻസിനും അങ്ങനെ ഒരു പാർട്ട് ചെയ്തുകൂടാന്നില്ല. ഇപ്പോൾ റിമോട്ട് സെൻസിങ്ങിനുള്ള ഒരു ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ പാർട്ട് സിവിൽ സ്റ്റുഡൻസിന് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമെങ്കിൽ ഗവൺമെന്റ് വിൽ ഫണ്ട് ഇറ്റ്. ഇനി കോസ്റ്റ് ഇഫക്റ്റീവ് കൺസ്ട്രക്ഷനുള്ള ഒരു മെത്തേഡ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമെങ്കിൽ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ സസ്റ്റൈനബിൾ യൂസ് ഓഫ് വാട്ടർ ഒരു സ്കീം നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമെങ്കിൽ യു മേ ഗെറ്റ് ഫണ്ടിങ്. നിങ്ങൾ കൊടുക്കുന്ന പ്രപ്പോസല് ഏതെങ്കിലും തരത്തിൽ സൊസൈറ്റിക്കോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഗവൺമെന്റിനോ യൂസ്ഫുൾ ആണെന്ന് തോന്നുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഡെഫിനറ്റ്ലി യു വിൽ ഗെറ്റ് ദ ഫണ്ടിങ്. സെൽഫ് ഫിനാൻസിങ് കോളേജിന് അക്കാര്യത്തിൽ വിവേചനമൊന്നുമില്ല. പക്ഷേ വാട്ട് ഐ എം സീയിങ് ഈസ് ഈ ഗവൺമെന്റ് കോളേജസിൽ നിന്ന് വരുന്ന ഫണ്ടിങ് പ്രപ്പോസൽ കുറച്ചുകൂടെ സീരിയസ് ആയിട്ട് വരുന്നുണ്ട്. സെൽഫ് ഫിനാൻസിങ് കോളേജിലെ കുട്ടികൾ അക്കാര്യത്തിൽ അങ്ങ് സെൽഫ് ഫിനാൻസ്ഡ് ആകുകയാണ്. ഇത് ഞങ്ങൾ ചെയ്തോളാം എന്നുള്ള മട്ടിൽ. അതല്ല വേണ്ടത്. ഫണ്ടിങ്ങിന്റെ എമൗണ്ടിനെ കുറിച്ച് ബോധമുണ്ട്, ബട്ട് ഇറ്റ് ഹാസ് ഗോട്ട് എ ഗ്രേറ്റ് വാല്യൂ. ഫണ്ടഡ് പ്രോജക്റ്റ് ചെയ്ത ഒരു കുട്ടി എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ ഡെഫിനറ്റ്ലി ദേ വിൽ ഹാവ് സം വാല്യൂ അറ്റാച്ച് ടു ഇറ്റ്. അതാണ് നോക്കുന്നത്. ഇനി ചോദ്യങ്ങളൊന്നുമില്ലേ? ഇനി ഒരു പാർട്ട് കൂടി ഉണ്ട് പ്രോജക്റ്റില്. ഈ സ്റ്റഡി കണ്ടക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന മെത്തോഡോളജി എങ്ങനെയാണ്, അതിൽ റിസോഴ്സസ് എങ്ങനെ ഉപയോഗിക്കണം, എക്സ്പെരിമെന്റേഷൻ എങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യണം, ഡിസൈൻ ഓഫ് എക്സ്പെരിമെന്റ്സ് എങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യണം, ഇങ്ങനെയൊക്കെയുള്ള ഒരുപാട് കാര്യങ്ങളുണ്ട്. അതിപ്പോൾ ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല. ഐ ഹാവ് ഡിസ്കസ്ഡ് ഓൺലി തിങ്സ് വിച്ച് ആർ റിക്വയർഡ്